You're alive. Hello. It has been, already got a thumbs up. That is very kind. So, um, hey everyone who watches this in the future. um, this is just a quick hello. And I'm doing this because I've been on a bit of a hiatus for a while in terms of pre-recorded content and so on. And it's for sort of a combination of reasons. First, I got into a very busy April and May in other areas of my life, and it became a little bit more difficult to produce the regular content. And I feel like even for 2021, I hadn't really gotten into a big groove. So yeah, I was hoping that I would be able to get into a rhythm, and then it just never happened. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually on a hiatus right now. That's actually what's happening. So let me just own that, and then put up content as I'm able to. So that has been what's been going on. My focus has been, for the most part, on some of the other projects that I am involved in. So the Octavia E. Butler slow read. We are many books in at this point. We're about to read Pattern Master, which is the final book in the Patternist series of 5 books, and with the conclusion of Pattern Master, we will have completed, is it 6 books? 6, I think it's 6. It would be 6 books. Yeah, 6 books. And that's a pretty big accomplishment. And then there have been some really awesome things that have happened this year, opportunities I was able to participate in. I was one of the influencers for the Festival of Literary Diversity, Fold, which was really great. I also got the opportunity this past week to be one of the readers in the hashtag Celebrate Octavia event that has been going on, hosted by Clarion West. So you can go to the Clarion West YouTube channel and watch our reading of Earthseed, the Book of the Living. And so that was really amazing because I got to read along with some noted authors like Nalo Hopkinson, the Grandmaster, Nisi Shaw, Tempest, Bradford, Andrea Hairston, Steve Barnes, and Jennifer Marie Brissett, and Cherie Renee Thomas. Did I get her last name right? Yeah, Cherie Renee Thomas, and many others. So that was super exciting too. So yeah, it's just, and I'm sure that I've forgotten some others or haven't mentioned any others, but it's been a really interesting time, a time of a lot of growth, a time of a lot of reading. I'm also working on a special project that I will be announcing soon. Evelyn and I read the Janada's, where is it? It's over here. But yeah, so we read Janada's book, The Stars and the Blackness Between Them, and we have one coming up, a Samuel Delaney book in July. So there's just been a lot of really super interesting stuff, but not as regular content. So there are 11 of you who are watching right now. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and for watching it live. And my chat is open, so I am absolutely free to respond to comments. So if you have any questions or comments for me right now, please feel free to put them in the chat, or even just say hi. And also give a thumbs up. That would be really wonderful. Okay, so what I said I would do. Hi, Emma Ray. It's very nice to see you. And I love your glasses. So I'm going to do the mid-year freakout tag live because no editing. So that's why. Okay, so the mid-year freakout book tag. Let's get the questions. And my question for you as you're putting your comments in the chat is, how have you been? And what have you been reading? And how's that been going for you? So, hi, Sally6357. So which, is that Njeri? Is that Njeri, the like famous Njeri, like the writer Njeri? Please let me know, because I can't tell from your tiny picture. I think you might be, but hello, namesake. It's good to see you. Let me get the mid-year book freakout tag. Mid-year book freakout tag and the questions. Okay. Yes, I could have done this earlier, but I did not. Okay. Okay, I haven't done any preparation, so you're going to get this cold. Hey, Sarah. Oh, what we could do to make this super fun is let's answer the questions together, okay? All right, so the way that actually, if someone's in the chat, if you could help, that would be really great. Could you go to one of the videos, one of the mid-year freakout tag videos, and just put like the questions one by one in the chat so that or you can type them out as I read them, and then we can all answer them. Okay, so the first question is, number 1, best book you've read so far this year. Okay, so I haven't prepared. This might be messy. So hands down, I don't even know if I can find it, but the best book I have read in 2021 has been Butter Honey Pig Bread by Francesca Ekwuasi. Okay. So why is it the best? I think I actually put up a review of it. I found myself moved by the characters. I loved the minimalism of the magic. The settings were amazing. It was a very kind of immersive book for me. And the fact that it was written from the perspective of these twins, Kende and Taye, it just had so many beautiful elements and sub elements to it that I really enjoyed it. I found the okay, maybe I'll type in the question. I can do that. Question number 1, best book you've read so far this year. Okay, so that's question number 1. Yeah, and I cried. I was entertained. I laughed. I got nervous. Like there were some cringy moments. And the author, Francesca Ekwuasi, likes to write about consumption, family, queerness, and magic, and food. And there's just so much food. It reads like it's not quite like a cookbook, but there's so much food in it. So yeah, it was a wonderful book, and I'm so glad that I read it, and it is definitely the best book that I have read for 2021. That said, I've read a lot of wonderful books, but this one just got me in places. So yes. All right. So let's see what you guys are saying. Amari and the Night Brothers and I Tituba, Black Witch of Salem. So I have I Tituba, Black Witch of Salem, and I enjoyed that. It's been a while since I read that book, and I've heard wonderful things about Amari and the Night Brothers. So it includes a lot of elements that I like: magical children, magical schools. So that's really great. And yes, you're in Njeri too. Hello, Freshwater. You're not famous? Not yet, Njeri. Every Njeri is famous. Come on now. But yes, so freshwater and butter honey pig bread share literary qualities. So if you enjoyed freshwater, you'll probably enjoy butter honey pig bread. Although I think freshwater is certainly more arresting a book than a butter honey pig bread. Okay, Sealy Green, you said The Year of the Witching was your favorite so far. So that's great. It's also on my shelves for me to get to as well. Okay, so question number 2 is best sequel you've read so far this year. Best sequel. I don't know. That one is a little harder to identify for me. Maybe what I could say is a sequel that in the first part of the year that I was sort of most excited about is the sequel to The Good Luck Girl. So that would be Sisters of Reckoning. And I think the reason I'm excited about it is because there's a girls on the run, to a new place. Like in the first book, we see the Good Luck girls like finding this secret place that they wanted to get to, that was important for them to get to. And then in the second book, we see what happens like once they get there. And so I think that would be the sequel I'm most excited about. So what sequels do you find it easy to read sequels? Do you like reading sequels? I find that after I read the first book, I like to wait until all of like the rest of the series is done so that I can read through it pretty quickly. But I would say like I think the sequel that I enjoyed the most is probably Mind of My Mind by Octavia E. Butler, which is a sequel to Wild Seed. And so while Sisters of Reckoning was the most exciting, notable one for me, the one that I enjoyed the most, and it's because it's Octavia E. Butler, and because I'm reading it in community, would be, yes, definitely definitely Mind of My Mind. Yeah. So what about you? You read Zero? Yeah, Zero. Oh, you did read Mind of My Mind. Yeah. It's kind of hard to think about the entire year in review. So let's see what some others are saying. T. Morgan, hello. Currently reading the Broken Earth trilogy. Yes. So Chloe is doing the slow read of the Broken Earth trilogy. So yes. So, yep. That is your answer for number 1, number 2. And then Njeri, Mind of My Mind by Octavia E. Butler. Yes. Wild Seed was really awesome. Yes. The pattern series, super good. Okay. So question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet, but want to. So there are a bunch of new releases, some of which you could probably see behind me that I haven't read yet, but I'm excited about. Like there are many. Let's see. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. There's a bunch here that are hidden, so I can't see that. Symbiosis, which is Nikki Drayden's sequel to, what was the first one? Ooh, my memory is not helping me today. But you'll know, you can find the Nikki Drayden's original story. What else? Oh, definitely Witches Steeped in Blood. I'm very curious about. There is Master of Jinn by P. Jelly Clark. And I think There are also I'm starting to read more of Eugen Bacon's work. She is an African Australian who lives currently in Australia, and she has a number of books that I'm discovering and also new releases this year. So Speculation is one that I've already read, which I enjoyed. It was a collection of flash fiction, but I'm super excited about Ujing Bacon's work. And a new release that I recently got was A Chorus Rising, which is the sequel to A Song Below Water, and which is A Chorus Rises, which is up there. And then also Sorrowland by River Solomon, because River Solomon just wins every time. So there are a lot of new releases that I'm excited about, and I've got an obscene number of books that need to be hauled. So there is likely going to be a haul at some point because there needs to be. So let's just look forward to that. All right, let's see your answers to question number 3. New releases you haven't. So what new releases do you have, or are you interested in that you haven't yet read but you want to? So, Dear Senthrin, yes, you can't wait to read that. And same, I'm certainly looking. And I haven't read MRA. I haven't read The Death of Vivek Oji either, but I have it. See, that's the thing about being a slow reader, is that like you haul, but you might not get to the books for a while. You've got butter. So, Njeri, you have butter, honey, pig bread. All right, that you want to read. And also Legendborn. Yes, I read Legendborn and loved it. Hail Mary, I'm not sure about that one. I don't know that I've heard about it. So yeah, can you talk about it a little bit, Celia Green? Okay, so question number 4. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I find it really difficult to answer most questions because I'm excited about a number of books that have come out this year, and I usually don't have favorites. So it's hard to kind of settle on just one. So I think I might actually skip that question because I don't really have a most anticipated. I can tell you that like the book that one of the books that I've been waiting for a really long time, waiting for it to come out, super excited, was Sorrowland by River Solomon, and continues to be. But, to be honest, there are many books that have come out this year. It's been an excellent year for new releases in the Black science fiction and fantasy world. So I don't really have one favorite. Yes, Memoth by Amber McBride. That's also one that's on my list. And Andy Weir. Yes. Okay. Yes, I understand. Hail Mary. Okay. All right. So question number 5, biggest disappointment. Biggest disappointment. I've read some really good books. I guess, my biggest disappointment wasn't actually bad. So I will say that my biggest disappointment was a collection. It's a graphic novel collection. Sorry, a collection of. Oh wait, did I read Nisneven this year? Okay, I can tell you what my biggest disappointment is, hands down, and that is Nisneven and the. You can look back in my videos. It's a graphic novel set in England, centering around a young Black woman who moves back with her family after being caught with drugs and alcohol in her private school. And while she's there for the summer, she meets this older white man, and they have this like relationship, and it gets magical and dark and there's murder and whatever. And that was my biggest disappointment because it was one of those things where you could tell that there wasn't enough thought put into the characterization, and even like the images weren't great either. So I certainly didn't love it. I actually really, really didn't love it. So I read that early in the year, and I would say that was my biggest disappointment. Okay, so Sarah, yours was Lakewood by Megan Giddings, which I actually have here. The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, which I've heard of and want to read. And yes, I think Stephen Graham Jones writes horror. And I've read Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones and really loved that and heard really good things about The Only Good Indians. Okay, so question number 6, biggest surprise. Okay. Okay, everybody. So what was your biggest surprise? What was my biggest surprise? Okay. So I will say that it's not necessarily a book that was my biggest surprise, but I read a military fantasy called The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. And it wasn't a surprise because it was good and I expected it not to be good. And you're going to hear kitchen noises because it's Saturday and this is what it means so it's totally fine. So it was not my biggest surprise because I didn't expect it to be good and it was good. It was my biggest surprise because I did not appreciate like how sexy I would find like the story and the characters and their relationships with each other. And I also didn't know how much I needed that story, and how much like, having a kind of like genderqueer, like masculine character on the cover with really great arms would be appealing to me. And it really was. So, and also how other people would be talking about these legendary arms. So yeah, that would probably be my biggest surprise, but not because I expected it to be bad, just because I didn't expect to be taken into the story as much as I was. And also I didn't realize that like military fantasy or like soldier stories, and women and non-binary people, like queer people being, soldiers and fighters. I didn't realize how much I wanted to read that right now. So those would probably be my biggest surprise. Let's see what you guys have to say. All right. So there's sort of mixed views on The Only Good Indians. There's a lot happening right now in Canada with the discovery of the remains of Indigenous children in unmarked graves on the premises of residential schools. And so I am really, really valuing Indigenous horror right now, because in this historical moment in Canada, or maybe generally on Turtle Island, we are we continue to be in a reckoning. And there's a Indigenous lawyer who does she has a really great channel. Her name is Pam Palmater, Pam, and then Palmater. She does a lot of really great videos on like things you could read, and she's got a book club for people who are interested in thinking about indigeneity and thinking about truth and reconciliation. And one of the things that she said in one of her videos is that like you can't start to reconcile, like you can't get to reconciliation until there's truth. And so we're still in a phase where we're uncovering, literally uncovering and surfacing truths. So in reading Indigenous and Afro-Indigenous writing, like Rebecca Roanhorse's writing, I'm just moved by and thinking about horror and everyday horror and the horror experienced by and continuously experienced by Indigenous people. And I'm really valuing those stories. Yes, Ring Shout. Ring Shout was amazing by P. Jelly Clark. Creepy and amazing and wonderful. Yeah. Root Magic by Eden Royce. Yes, I read that as well and adored it just like you did, Zealy Green. All right. And Okay, let me just manage this. I will be. Okay. All right. And the next question is favorite new author. Again, favorites are hard. Authors that I'm going to be following. So, so Conjure Woman was your biggest surprise. And Njeri, why was that your biggest surprise? I read Conjure Woman by Afia Atakora and enjoyed it. So I'd love to hear about that. Favorite new authors, that's super hard. I've been introduced to a ton of amazing new authors this year. Presently, Blood Like Magic has been on my mind. That's like my current read. LaSalle Sambury, who is a Trinidadian Canadian and who just came out with like this, I think it launched this week or last week. Does it have even the date on it? June 2021. So this is like brand spanking new and great book. And she's really great. A couple of other authors that I'm super excited about, Bethany C. Morrow, and also Francesca Ekwasi, C.L. Clark. Like, it's hard to know like who we would call a new author because many of these authors wrote like shorter form works as well. But again, like hard to when you're a niche reader like me, like I already know that if I've purchased your book, it's because you're writing in a genre that I love. So it can be a little bit difficult to separate, favorites from least favorites. And also I think it's important to think really generationally about an author's experience, like the many books that they write over time. So yeah, hard to answer, but there we go. So Jordan Ifueko, so you can't, so Raybearer, have that, haven't read it, and Yagyasi, so Homecoming, and I know that, Sarah, there's another Yagyasi book, so which one were you talking about? Newest Fictional Crush, okay, so that is cool. So who is your newest fictional crush? So I had a fictional crush, and I guess I'm kind of over it now. But I think right now what I'm really interested in, like, I mean, I'm over it in that, like, at the time I was like, oh, I have a fictional crush, my first fictional crush. And but I think like I really like this is probably for obvious reasons, but I really like masculine queer characters, masculine non-binary characters. And I just feel like authors are doing some good work in that area of characterization. So that's usually what I like. So you and Njeri are diving into Emezi's work, which is awesome. That's great. So what's your next read? Oh, yes. Okay. So you meant Transcendent Kingdom, Sarah, when you were talking about Yagyasi. Awesome. Okay. So question. So who are your fictional crushes? I think that's still kind of a hard question to answer. So number 9, newest favorite character. So my newest favorite character is from Blood Like Magic, and the character's name is Alex. And Alex is a cousin of the protagonist, whose name is Voya. Alex is a trans character whose magic amplifies their innate talents around sewing and fashion design. And there's just one scene in Blood Like Magic where Alex, I think ordinary characters would have been like upset and petty, and Alex just shows this kindness and grace and maturity in the scene. And I was just like, oh, you're wonderful. So that's my newest favorite character, is Alex from Blood Like Magic. Okay. Ooh. I'm seeing some nice answers here. Book that made you cry. Okay, so Emmanuel, the Year of the Witching. Emmanuel in the Year of the Witching, okay, is your newest favorite character. Cool. And then Sarah, Tracker from Marlon James's Black Leopard Red Wolf, which I haven't read yet. I would like to know what you thought of that book because I've heard mixed reviews. I haven't read it yet. From Marlon James, I've read The Sisters of the Night Witches. No, that's not the name of the title. The Book of the Night Witches, I think, is what it's called. It's up here somewhere. But in any event. Okay, book that made you cry. I cried reading Butter Honey Pig Bread, which is one of the reasons I love the book so much. I also cried during Bethany C. Morrow's A Song Below Water. Yes, so I definitely cried during those. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. It's hard to read, Black Leopard Red Wolf, but it's worth it, so that's great. I'm not afraid of books that are hard to read, so I'm looking forward to it very much. Okay, a book that made you happy. So I also cried during Root Magic too. I've been crying a lot. Book that made you happy. Tomi is cooking some really good food. I can't wait. Okay, let's see what others are saying. So yeah, oh my gosh, I totally cried during Pet, Sarah. Not a crier, but you came close reading Homegoing. Okay, Black Panther Red Wolf. Oh, you mean Leopard. Okay, is not a typical read for you, but you loved it. All right, Nazy, makes sense. Okay, so a book that made you happy. So what made me happy? Legendborn made me happy. That made me very, very happy. I should probably just take a look at my reading planner, but I haven't updated it recently because hiatus and stuff. But it's probably the easiest way to look back on what I've read. Yeah, Legendborn definitely made me happy. I totally forgot that I read the Jumbie God's Revenge and King of the Jumbies. So I finished that, which was I enjoyed the books by Tracy Baptiste. Yeah, I think. Oh, right. And early in January, I read Gutter Child by J.L. Richardson, which was also really good. That made me happy. That book made me happy as well. What books made you happy? Love Beyond Space and Time made you cry. Yeah, I have that one. And if you guys are interested in learning more about Indigenous writing, you should check out Grace Dillon, Grace, and then last name Dhillon. Grace Dillon has a list of Indigenous writers, Indigenous science fiction writers. There's actually a curriculum, like a syllabus you can access online. The Sound of Stars. The Sound of Stars made me happy too. Yeah, what was the author's name? Alicia Dow, I think. And Ilatso made you so happy. Such a great book. Awesome. Okay, question 12. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year, or that you have this year. Okay, most beautiful book. What's the most beautiful book? Let me think about this for a moment as I look. You know what? I haven't quite talked about this yet. It's going to be in a video that I do, but I was gifted from Subterranean Press some special edition books. And I have been waiting to do like a reveal. And so For those of you who are watching, thank you for watching. This is going to be your sneak preview reveal. But Subterranean Press, it releases special edition copies of books. And this one is How Long Till Black Futures Month. And you'll note the artist is Paul Lewin, who is an artist of like Afrofuturist work. So this is a signed limited edition, and I was gifted this and several others from Subterranean Press. It was amazing. So I'll show you that, you've got full cover, color interiors, and titles. So if you look, these books are very beautiful. There's actually like color in the page numbers. They're cloth bound. And then there are also illustrations inside. I'm trying to find an illustration for you. So these editions are illustrated. And so this collection of special edition books from Subterranean Press are hands down the most beautiful books that I've had access to this year. So I can't say that I bought them because they were gifted to me. So they were not purchases. So yeah, and I know that a couple of you are writing down some of the most beautiful books that you have acquired this year. So I'm very curious to see that as well. Let's see. Black Flamingo, the British cover is one of the most beautiful for you. Okay. Alatsa was gorgeous, and the British version of yeah, the British version of books seems to be really cool. Yes. So Raybearer is stunning. I love the cover of Raybearer, and it's up there, I think. And the Gilded Ones too. Yeah, the Gilded Ones, there was a special, I think the Fairy Loot box had a special edition, which was really beautiful. The pages were like pink or something. Oh, yes, Remote Control, stunning cover as well. There's so many gorgeous covers, gorgeous books. Okay, 13, I think this is the last question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Okay. All right. So friends, you tell me what books you need to read by the end of the year. I'm again looking back at my shelves. Like if you notice, my shelves are not as organized as they used to be because I didn't want to put any of the recent purchases in between books that I already own for fear of forgetting about them. So I'm looking to see some of the books that I have here. The Year I Flew Away is okay. You know what? Let me just grab a few, and I'll grab a few from here. So, okay. So here's one. So this is 9 Bar Blues by Cherie Renee Thomas, Stories from an Ancient Future. So I'll just read the back. Haunting and evocative 9 Bar Blues carries the soul's songbook from the dark laughter of strange sisters forced to make a perilous journey in a land their mothers have never known, to the fortified funk of extraterrestrial mixtapes. Author Cherie Renee Thomas's stories are sonic rituals, works that cultivate and affirm the magical and the mystical in everyday living. 9 Bar Blues explores the myriad forms of music and the people who make it and appreciate it, the body's music, the spirit's music, and what moves a soul forward in the crossroads journey of life. Her stories travel from haunted West African and Middle Eastern forests to the mysterious backroads of the Mississippi Delta, from the ancestral realms of the afterlife to the alien sounds beyond. And throughout the journey, 9 Bar Blues heralds the arrival of a unique writer whose voice carries the hope and past, future, present of a people. So That's 9 Bar Blues by Cherie Renee Thomas, and there are a ton of others. There will, at some point in the future, there will be a haul where I'll take you through an obscene amount of books, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what I'm anticipating. So I'm not sure, like, yes, all of them. I need to read all of the books by the end of the year. Yes. So The Water Dancer, Emma, yes, The Water Dancer is a lovely book. It's a beautiful book. And if I can make a recommendation, I would hybrid read it because the narrator on Audible, Joseph Morton, who plays the father in Scandal, reads it and he's exquisite. So I would definitely recommend that you read it. That was the first time and only time that I have actually read a book at a lower speed on Audible. Like, I slowed it down. I listened to it at 0.8 because it was so wonderful. Yes, Zealy Green, all of them. And Anything by Ben Okri. So I haven't read much Ben Okri. The Famished Road is one that I need to read for sure. And The Gilda Stories, that's a beautiful, beautiful book by Jewel Gomez. So I'd love to hear your thoughts after you've read it. Okay, so that is pretty much it. I'm going to end this live mid-year book Freakout tag. I want to thank you so much for joining and for chatting, and also for answering the questions yourself. Tomi is, she's kneading flour. Oh, she's making dumplings. I'm really excited. There's going to be some comfort food in my future, like some really amazing chicken soup with dumplings or something, which is exciting. All right, everyone. This definitely was fun. Thank you for joining. Remember to read with purpose, and I will see you next time. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.